y'all, CompleteIndie here. Personally, everyone's talking about the Resident Evil this, Smash Melee that. No one's stopping to take the time and talk about the titles that really matter. Like Universal Studios' Theme Parks Adventure. The Nintendo GameCube. It's now 10 years old and it's come a long way, especially compared to 11 years ago. For example, it actually exists. Being such an impactful console as it was, it made me realize I want to sit down today and take a chance to go over the sort of stuff that would make a Nintendo GameCube Classic Edition, if Nintendo were to ever make one. This isn't the first time I've done this, by the way. In fact, check out my previous video on an N64 Classic Edition if you want. But if you're new or don't care for the N64, here are the rules. I'll be doing exactly 15 games. While the NES had 30, the SNES had 21. GameCube games are bigger in file size, so there will be 15 games on the GameCube Classic Edition. Second, the games had to be Nintendo games. Games like Resident Evil 4, Metal Gear Solid, Twin Snakes, great games that they are, aren't Nintendo games. While I don't think that would make them inherently bad fits, it's unclear if Nintendo would be able to put them on the GameCube Classic for legal and copyright reasons. So if Nintendo actually owns the game though, it's fair choice. Third, I'm not going to pick anything that would potentially hurt Nintendo's sales. Smash Bros. Melee would compete with Ultimate, Animal Crossing for the GameCube competes with New Horizons, so on and so forth. With all that said and done, let's get into this. We're going to be doing this alphabetically, mainly just to keep things concise. The first game on our list is the original Chibi Robo. In this game, released in 2005, you play as a tiny robot named, you guessed it, Chibi Robo, who'da thunk. You need to complete various household chores in a game with moderately sized fanbase, solid audio design, and it couples unique gameplay with a surprisingly touching and emotional experience. Second on this list is the possibly controversial pick, Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem. This was Nintendo's first M-rated game that they published, a horror game with a lot of fourth wall breaking, and it's unlike anything Nintendo's ever put out since. While there was plans for a sequel that never happened, and since then Eternal Darkness has kind of gone forgotten. So this way, maybe we can bring it back for a new generation and maybe even revive the series. The next game on the list is Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. This game is extremely expensive nowadays and it's in dire need of a re-release, and a GameCube Classic Edition is perfect. This entry in Fire Emblem was the debut of the character Ike, who you probably know from Smash. It's a great way to give in to a new generation and a solid entry as the game is well regarded for its good story as well as its good gameplay. The first multiplayer game on this list, FZero GX. FZero, as I explained in my N64 Classic Edition video, hasn't received a ton of love in the modern day and age, and this was actually the last title released in the series, because the Game Boy Advance doesn't count. This game featured multiplayer functionality, Grand Prix mode, time attack mode, and it's strange knowing that this was the last major F-Zero game. Following that is none other than Kirby Air Ride. Kirby Air Ride was a multiplayer racing game with simplistic controls. This helps it to sort of directly mirror F-Zero GX. Compared to GX's complicated and tight controls that are expected of the F-Zero franchise, Kirby Air Ride has more basic and simple controls, less need for input, and serves as a casual counterpart. One of the best games for the GameCube was, undeniably, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. While initially poorly received, it slowly gained popularity as one of the best games of all time, and one of the best Zeldas by many. Praised for its unique art style, good soundtrack, fluid combat, well-designed puzzles, and while it did get a remaster on the Wii U, who actually bought a Wii U? Serving as Luigi's first solo outing, we're going to be adding Luigis Mansion to the GameCube Classic Edition. This was the console's main launch title, and has almost become a signature thing for Luigi, appearing in Smash Bros., Mario Kart, sports games, more. In it, you play as Luigi navigating a haunted mansion while trying to save Mario from evil ghosts, and it gained quite a bit of love and praise. Mario Kart has had its fair share of good titles, and Mario Kart Double Dash is no different. Well, from much earlier and lacking some features and options of its predecessors, it's still a solid title with the unique feature of multiple drivers per car, and coupling that with introducing a lot of modern staples like the modern countdown, course overviews, and the point system that's used in Grand Prix. As with my N64 Classic Edition, I wanted a Mario Party game. I decided to go with Mario Party 4. Being the first Mario Party game for the GameCube and not requiring the microphone peripheral like some of the later installments, it feels like a good inclusion as an exciting party game. Plus, I needed to decide between 4 and 5, and the friend I asked for a second opinion never played 5. So you know what I'm going with. To represent one of Nintendo's most popular series, we'll be adding both Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. With the recent revival of the Metroid series and the love Nintendo has given it, as well as a way to introduce people back to the start of the Prime series in anticipation for Prime 4, these two games serve as memorable single-player experiences that'll almost certainly make the GameCube Classic Edition sell, if only for these titles alone. Speaking of single-player experiences, Paper Mario: The ThousandYear Door. This was a sequel to Paper Mario and serves as an amazing casual RPG experience, with great writing, great gameplay, and more. It's a personal favorite of mine, to be fair, but it's long overdue for a release. I mean, even Earthbound got re-released first, and we all know how much Nintendo loves Earthbound. Next up, Pikmin. It was one of the new IPs Nintendo made for the GameCube, but unlike most of those IPs, Pikmin actually succeeded. Serving as a pretty unique title for the console, Pikmin is a fun puzzle game about overcoming obstacles and hazards using your Pikmin, little plant creatures, and it's incredible inclusion for how iconic it was for the GameCube and overall just being a really solid game. Following that, Super Mario Strikers, the last Mario game released for the GameCube and a very popular sports game. Super Mario Strikers was praised for its accessibility towards newer players, its great visual style, enjoyable gameplay, and overall very solid multiplayer experience. And finally, we go with the classic, Super Mario Sunshine, the obvious middle child of the 3D Mario games. Super Mario Sunshine has only been re-released in the form of Mario Party 3D All-Stars, which doesn't count. And it's a great game with a cool atmosphere, neat and clever level design and puzzles, and overall it's a really solid experience that, at least in my opinion, deserves the same kind of praise that Mario 64 and Galaxy get. So there you have it, 15 games to make the GameCube the beloved console that it is, and why they would be notable inclusions for the GameCube Classic Edition. This console wasn't the most successful, to be fair, but where it had good games, those games were really good. Now, if Nintendo does in fact announce this product and these games are on it, not only am I saying I told you so, but also, I demand my royalties.